As state unemployment benefits are extended, will FPUC, that $600 from the federal government, get extended as well? Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for today. Our third of five second stimulus check updates. Earlier today we detailed the check itself, SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and VA benefits, answering questions about veterans as well. Next we detailed hazard pay. Later today we're going over free rent and rent assistance under a second stimulus package, and later EIDL. But this video is about unemployment benefits, PUA, and FPUC. Yesterday in the 173 questions we got a lot of people asking to explain the differences about PUA, UI, and FPUC. And you know, I saw a couple questions as well that showed that people were a little bit confused about the differences of the program. So that is the purpose of this video. This video is going to go through the differences between PUA, FPUC, UI, extended benefits, extended FPUC, so you understand what is what. Ultimately, this video, I've been doing PUA videos before even PUA launched back on April 25th. This is about the 40th day of this channel. Thank you for bringing this channel to 40,000 subscribers overnight. But a lot of you are new to finding out about PUA, and so I want to recap and explain to you the nuances of what's going on. All right, UI and PUA are totally separate. UI is for employees, and when I say is for, I mean whether you were an employee or have been laid off as an employee. UI is for employees. PUA is for independent contractors, self-employed individuals. So an example is a UI person would be someone who works at Macy's. You receive a W-2. Example of a PUA is a plumber. He has his own plumbing business. He receives, he gets checks when he goes out and works, and he has his own plumbing business like Phil's Plumbing. They are two different items. The way that PUA came into existence was back in May. Congressman actually did something really correct this time. They understand when the pandemic was hitting that people were losing their jobs, and they understand that people that were losing their jobs were both employees and independent contractors, as a plane comes to try to take me away. And so they understood that they need to give relief to both employees and independent contractors. So they passed at the time a new law, the CARES Act, and the CARES Act created PUA for independent contractors. Before the CARES Act, there was no such thing as PUA. Before the CARES Act, if you were an independent contractor and you lost your job as self-employed, there was nothing on the books to help you. It just didn't exist. They passed PUA for people hit by the pandemic. UI has always existed. UI always existed. When they passed PUA, the members of Congress, I think, made a mistake. And this is where I think they made a mistake. They decided that PUA would be administered by your state's unemployment offices. So I get that question a lot from viewers. Where do I apply for PUA? You apply at your state's unemployment office. Why do I think this is a mistake? Because the states literally can barely even have enough manpower to process UI applicants. And now they're getting PUA applicants. They are literally overwhelmed. They can't do it. They have old computer systems, old processes, and I think it was a mistake to give states that obligation. But there you are. What you need to know is the following. In order to qualify for PUA, you must be ineligible for UI. You cannot get the two together. I have a lot of viewers who say, I am running out of UI benefits. Can I now go and get that PUA? No. PUA is only for people who are ineligible for UI. In fact, most states require, when you go through the application process for PUA, to first apply for UI and get denial. Because you're an independent contractor, you do not get UI before getting PUA. All right. So once you apply for PUA UI, what happens then is the state then asks you what was the date that you wish to claim eligibility. If you're new to this channel, which you probably are, thank you for the 10,000 subscribers almost per day. We're past 40,000 overnight. This is so important. When you list the date of impact, you need to understand and think in your mind, what was the date that I was impacted? If you were impacted in March, put the date in March. If you put today's date when you apply today, you will not get what's called retroactive benefits, because you're not saying you were impacted back in the past. You're saying you're impacted from today going forward. What are retroactive benefits? Retroactive benefits are benefits before the date at which you applied. So an example is you are a UI applicant, you were laid off from Macy's, you didn't think of applying for UI until you watched today's video, but you were laid off in March. So when you go to apply for UI benefits, you say, hey, I was laid off in March, but I'm only applying now in June. Well, you are going to get approval. And when you get that approval, it's going to say you are approved from March to, generally it'll say to December 31st. That's the way they write it. It's your eligibility window. It doesn't mean you're going to get paid every single week to December, but that's your eligible window. Don't mess that up. That is the most important thing not to mess up. I've had viewers ask me, I messed that up. How do you fix it? I have no idea how you fix it. I don't know anyone that has been able to fix it. It's that sad. So make sure when you put your eligibility date, it is back to the first date you're impacted. Next, let me go over PUA and why PUA is slightly different and really quite great. PUA does not require you to be fully unemployed. I got this question a lot in the questions overnight, the 173 questions. PUA does not require you to be fully unemployed. One of the qualifications that triggers eligibility under PUA is that you're partially unemployed. That because of COVID-19, you saw your number of hours reduce as a self-employed individual. So if you normally work 40 hours a week as self-employed plumber, but because of the pandemic, you only got 3 hours of work, you qualify for PUA. Other grounds for PUA eligibility are you have COVID-19, you live with someone that has COVID-19 and care for them, you couldn't reach your place of work because of COVID-19. An example of that are teachers. I have a lot of teachers that have that question. Now, again, teachers are not PUA because you're employees, but I have some people who are like substitute teachers that are they're independent contractors. And so they said, the school was closed for 2 months because of the pandemic. Well, can't reach the place of work. That qualifies. So when you go through the application process and you are then approved, you aren't done. That was really one of the very first things that made this channel popular back in April, was I explained to people who asked me where's their money, that they weren't done. And they're like, what do you mean I'm not done? I got approval. I got approval for UI. I got approval for PUA. Why am I not getting checks? Because that's not the way it works. The strange thing about UI and PUA is there's a strange process that no one would normally think about. If you're hit by a car in a car accident, you call up your insurance company, say, hey, I got hit in a car accident. You tell them, they approve the claim, and you get a check. Not the case in the case of UI or PUA. You call up, you file the PUA, you file the UI, you get approved, you don't get a check. What they require you to next do is certify for benefits each week. So you need to go through each week, and it'll ask you a series of questions, which you have to answer the correct way. And then if you're finished, it'll say processing. It means at that point that it's processing for payment. There are 2 questions that you have to answer the following way or you won't get paid. One is about a physical trait, one is about a mental trait. First, if you were offered the ability to work, would you have been able to work? That's a physical question. The answer must be yes. If the answer is no, you're not going to get paid. Second, if offered the opportunity to work, would you have been willing to work? That's a mental question. The answer has to be yes. If it's no, you won't get paid for that week. a lot of people ask me, what if I'm not getting paid for a particular week? Will I get paid for the next week? Yeah, there's that thing as well. The important thing to understand is that it is a process, and the process has to be followed, and you have to continue with the process. Let me answer a couple of your questions shortly, 173 of them, but let me get to this extended benefits and FPUC, the $600 from the federal government. So when you're approved for UI or PUA and you're impacted from the month of March to the month of July, bingo, you are going to get $600 on top of that from the federal government under the CARES Act. Approved in May, that was the first stimulus package. It provides $600 from the federal government for every week you were impacted by COVID-19 from March to July. So when you're doing that certification for benefits each week that you certify from March to July that you get payment from your state, you will get $600 on top of that. Two things to understand. One, sometimes it doesn't list the $600 on the state's website. Don't worry about it. It's just their stupid computer system. Two, sometimes the $600 comes separate in the mail or separate in the direct deposit than your state benefits. What is going to happen? Well, what this channel has been explaining to you is that the $600 from the federal government is called FPUC. It expires in late July. So currently, if nothing would happen, you would not get the $600 from the federal government after that last week in July. What is on the books? What's on the books is the HEROES Act. It's currently in the Senate from the House. It proposes to extend FPUC, the $600 from the federal government. When and how? It proposes to extend it into next year. How? It does it two different ways, and that was yesterday's video. I hope you watch it. It's so important, but I'm going to repeat it right now. If you're on UI or PUA now, or any time before the HEROES Act or any type of bill like it is passed in August, if you're on UI or PUA by August, or even you get it on file, I mean, just get it on file if you are eligible, your weeks of benefits will be extended further than people who just get on UI or PUA after August 8th. And I'm not going to go into the minutia of how many weeks and which weeks is it that extended. It's very complicated. It's a little bit too complex. My bottom line is that if you have been impacted and qualify for UI or PUA, do your application now. Don't wait to August and say, oh, I'm going to do it now. No, the person who does it after August will get less potential benefits in the long run if they're still impacted by this pandemic next year. Get it on file. Extended benefits. Let me talk about extended benefits. I got this question a lot overnight. State extended benefits are different than federal extended benefits. I know it sounds so complicated, but it's not. You have UI weeks of benefits. Everyone who's on UI knows how many weeks they could possibly get for UI. Okay, that's that. In May, the CARES Act passed F, Frank, P, Paul, E, Edward, U, Uncle, C, Charles, FPEUC, which gave you additional weeks of unemployment benefits. Okay, so you normally have your normal UI benefit number of weeks. The CARES Act, FPEUC, extended those number of weeks. So you're at that point. Next, most states have now extended or given what they call extended benefits, state extended benefits already. So they've added more weeks of benefits on top of that. So you had your UI weeks, you had extension of FPUC, which is still there, it's not expiring. If you're on UI, you get those extended weeks no matter what happens in July. You still get them. You get your state's extended benefits weeks. And then you have the HEROES Act, which proposes to extend it even further. So you got a lot of weeks there. PUA. I got this question a lot. My PUA is running out in July. It is not running out in July. No one's PUA is expired in July. You know why? Because PUA when it was adopted, gave 33 weeks of PUA. So you're not going to expire in July. Even if you started PUA the very first day in March, retroactive benefits, you're not at 33 weeks come July. So 33 weeks of PUA. What happens at 33 weeks? Well, if you're worried about running out of PUA benefits after 33 weeks, then pay attention to this channel and the HEROES Act come August 8th. Because the HEROES Act proposes to give you more weeks of PUA after 33 weeks. And again, it'll give more weeks of PUA if you're on PUA when the HEROES Act is approved than if you're not on PUA and get on PUA after the HEROES Act is approved. A lot of interesting twists. Ultimately, you need to keep the following things separate and clear in your mind, and hopefully this video has kept it clear for you. UI is one thing. PUA is another thing. FPUC, which is certainly in the middle, which pays both UI and PUA, is a different thing. That's the $600 from the federal government. FPUC, which extends UI, doesn't extend PUA. FPEUC, which extends UI weeks, is a separate thing. State extended benefits, which extends weeks of UI, is another thing. Last, I think I answered this yesterday, but I don't recall, so I'm going to answer it now. Some people said, oh, my state extended PUA overnight, or my state extended FPUC overnight. No. Please don't share wrong information or get that confused, even if it's accidental. States don't extend PUA or don't extend the $600 from the federal government. They can't because it's federal money. It's a federal law. States can't change federal laws. States can change UI weeks, but they can't give you extra weeks of $600 for the federal government. The Congress must do it, or, executive order. It is a federal law, and the money comes from the federal government. If you have questions in today's video, drop in the comments below and may feature them tomorrow's recording. Coming up later today, rent assistance has another plane comes to take me away. As always, stay at LALATE for more.